So let's talk about different satellites, and for now, let's just consider them as a platform from which this various type of imagery, remote sensing imagery is collected. So there are not just satellites for imagery, there's all kinds of satellites up there. Some of them are specifically for communications, whether that's internet-based, television, radio, or telephone, cellular telephone. There are satellites up there only concerned with the weather or for monitoring things like climate and temperature and that sort of thing. There are satellites specifically for navigation, and these would include the constellation of satellites in the GPS network. And then there are satellites specifically for observing the Earth. And they're collecting imagery. This can be from the visible portion of the electromagnetic spectrum and really just look like a photograph of the Earth, or it could be coming from one or more invisible portions of the electromagnetic spectrum, such as infrared radiation. And then besides the ones kind of taking pictures of the Earth or collecting information on specific parts of the electromagnetic spectrum, other Earth observation satellites are concerned with, for example, what the elevation is at the surface of the Earth. So there's all sorts of satellites up above the Earth, literally thousands of satellites that are circling the Earth at any particular time. A lot of these have been launched by various governments, including the United States, Russia, China, Japan, India, and some of them are also commercial satellites, just organizations, individual companies that have launched their own satellites and are selling their data. In this class, we're going to be concerned with the Landsat satellites. We can see the different Landsats here. The first Landsat was launched in 1972. And it orbited for 6 years. It was collecting data for 6 years. Some satellites have been wildly successful. Landsat 5, long outlasting how long it was expected to run, started in 1984 and was still collecting data in 2013. Landsat 6 failed at launch, which is why it's just a point here instead of a line. And the data that you'll be looking at in your lab for this class is from Landsat 8, which was launched in 2013 and goes to the present day, with Landsat 9 scheduled to be launched in December of 2020. Of course, Landsat is a U.S. satellite, a U.S. government satellite. Another common satellite that we sometimes hear about is those launched by Digital Globe, an independent contractor. And they have the QuickBird and WorldView and GeoEye type satellites up there, especially WorldView more recently. And a lot of times these are the satellites that are much higher spatial resolution. They're looking at things that are down to like something, 0.3 meter type resolution on the ground, and can kind of fill that need that aren't met by the traditional Landsat sort of satellites or other satellites launched by governments.